Hello everyone. What is food? What is its importance? The food that we eat comprises essential nutrients that provide us with energy. It's like I have repeated this line umpteen times before, but never actually described how it is done by our body. But before doing that, I promise you that this will be the last time I talk about food and its importance. From here onwards, let us discuss how the energy from food fuels various life processes. The answer to this question lies in an action you're doing right now. Well, not just right now, but every moment of your life. Can you guess what that action is? Yes, it is breathing. Breathing is the process by which we take in air rich in oxygen and give out air rich in carbon dioxide. Now, once we breathe in oxygen, it is transported to different parts of our body and finally to each cell. Now, do you remember digestion and how nutrients from the digested food particles are absorbed into the bloodstream and they finally reach the tissues and cells? Of course you do. Now, once the oxygen is transported to each cell, it breaks down these nutrients and helps in the release of energy. This process is known as respiration. So what we see is that digestion and respiration are interconnected. Both these processes are required to transform the food on your plate to the energy you require. But there is a difference between breathing and respiration. Breathing is the physical process by which air rich in oxygen is taken in and we give out air rich in carbon dioxide. Whereas respiration is a chemical process of breaking down food particles in the form of glucose molecules to generate energy, which is then used by our body to carry out various functions. So if we look at the entire process of how food is broken, it goes something like this. We breathe in oxygen, the oxygen is transported to different cells, it does its job of breaking down glucose molecules, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Sounds like a simple procedure to me. But how is this carbon dioxide found? Why is it released? And is there any relation between breathing and eating? The process doesn't look simple anymore, does it? So we need to look into the process of respiration in detail to find out what happens and just about how the entire process is carried out. During respiration, or more precisely cellular respiration, as it happens inside the cell, the sugar molecules or glucose undergoes chemical reaction, wherein oxygen breaks down the glucose into carbon dioxide and water, and in the process, energy is released. But what if oxygen is not available? What happens then? Well, a cell can break down glucose even in the absence of oxygen. So what we see is that respiration can take place in two different ways. One that involves oxygen and one that does not. When breakdown of glucose happens in the presence of oxygen, it is known as aerobic respiration. When the breakdown happens in the absence of oxygen, it is known as anaerobic respiration. During anaerobic respiration, the glucose is broken down into some other chemical compound, for instance, alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. So what are these cells or who are these organisms that carry out anaerobic respiration? Interestingly, yeast can respire anaerobically, which means they can survive in the absence of oxygen and get energy by breaking down glucose into alcohol and carbon dioxide. Now, because they release alcohol during their cellular respiration, they are used in the preparation of wine and beer. Have you ever felt an intense muscle cramp after a heavy dance routine or fast running or any other physical activity? Our muscles temporarily perform anaerobic respiration when we are carrying out energy-demanding physical activities. And because of anaerobic respiration, the glucose stored in our muscles is broken down into lactic acid and energy. This lactic acid is the reason for the muscle cramp. The lactic acid can be broken down by oxygen. So once the supply of oxygen increases, the pain reduces. This example tells us that anaerobic respiration happens within our body too. So that is about respiration and how oxygen plays a key role in it. But we haven't discussed how oxygen is taken in and how is it transported to all parts of our body. I mean, we must know what are the different parts that help in carrying out this entire process, right? Furthermore, do you think all organisms respire the same way? Too many questions. I think it's time to address all these questions. And that is exactly what we are going to do in our upcoming videos on respiration in organisms. Stay tuned.